Hey folks, we are going to continue art production here for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we've been building online here for the past year. Give me a second to check my signal, make sure that I'm coming through clear. We'll go through my intro spiel, and then we got about 100 minutes of work that we can get to today. So checking signal here, 1, 2, 3, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Checking signal here, 1, 2, 3, ABC. Sure is. All right, cool. Got that going, and here, blip. Blop. Baka baka. Baka baka. Here. Alright, now I'm going to get into my intro spiel. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them on, I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links in the description down below to previous works that I've produced. If you're usually here for the artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations across those books that I just have linked down below, and there's plenty more. If you're here for D&D stuff, check it out. These all have extensive previews. So you can thumb through the books, see if there's something cool. I build stuff for both DMs and players, both sides of the screen, to be used from level 1 to 20. Check the stuff out. If you think it's cool, consider making a purchase to support similar shenanigans in the future. You can also follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney, where I always post when I'm going live, as well as some of the illustrations, like the piece that we had done last night. As you can see, we finished this. We'll go take a closer look at it here in Photoshop in a second. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter to get notifications when I go live. Otherwise, best way to help support the channel overall, of course, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to help me continue to grow. I'm up to 220 subscribers. So thanks, folks, for all the support and investing your time in the ideas that we have here. I'm attempting to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. If I continue building momentum like that, it may very well be possible. So that's because of you guys. So what I say, we create role-playing games, we illustrate them, and then we publish them online. So I'll get an idea, I'll play a game. I usually do 5e stuff. So we'll play a game, see if the stuff works. If it does, we'll write it all out. We'll then hire an editor to come in, make the words smart. Once the words are smart, we'll drop them on. I use Microsoft Word for my layouts. So we'll lay out the text so it's all nice and pretty on the page. And when it's all in position, say here, we'll leap. Yeah, here's a page. So we'll then convert this into a PDF that will extract and drop into Photoshop here, and we then drop the page into Photoshop, and then we illustrate. So we then drop the illustration in, and we will continue painting on the page until this one is done, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we're at currently episode 234. I built this cover back on episode 15. So you can go into the playlist to look at the Wayback Machine to see us building this itself. But otherwise, we're just going to continue creating art and filling out the pages until all the pages are filled, and then we'll publish it and move on to the next book. But here's a closer look at that illustration that I had on Twitter, and we just finished this one last night. So you got 2 Spiderling fighter craft here, stalking a galleon in a asteroid field. This is an excerpt from the Light of Xeraxis adventure. Spoiler alert. There's the team gets ambushed by Neogi, and in the official Light of Xeraxis adventure, they don't have fighter craft. They just have the big vessels. So with the supplement, we created these fighter craft, and so there's a squadron or a unit squad of these smaller 40-foot fighter craft that are lurking among the asteroids to ambush this ship. So that's yeah, like I said, you can see that on Twitter, or when this book publishes, you'll be able to take a good close zoom in on this. And I don't know how valuable this kind of stuff is actually as like a stock art or something, but because all the art that I make is unique to the books that I make, and I'm always making books, so I'm always making art unique to them. So I don't know how much value my illustrations would be as like stock art, unless this is the kind of stuff that you're also planning on doing. So, but I do plan on using. Apparently, I can sell stock art on Patreon now, so I anticipate. At some point, starting to load up art assets and licensing options for, usage licensing for the stuff that I've built in the past. So you can find a link to my Patreon down below if you want to check out the articles there. I will be posting, like I said, I'll be posting stock art there. I suppose that's going to be my Christmas gift to myself this year, is creating stock art options on my Patreon. So jump on board if you want. Check the stuff out. I appreciate you guys. So we are working on this. I decided to continue working on this piece because of the piece we just finished. Wordsing not so good, but we just finished this piece. So it seemed appropriate that we would stay in the flow of doing these spiderlings. And do that one too. So I'm just going to, I think I want to just grab a quick, easy screenshot here like that and there. And then we'll do that. So we can drop this down into our reference document. Jump. Doo-doo. And we'll put that there. So here's all the reference stuff we have. We have the Spiderling craft that we used the same schematics for these illustrations. And then we have color schemes for clothing and then asteroid coloring. Most of this, you guys, if you've been here for a little while, this will be familiar to you from the previous illustration that we just finished with the assets that we use for these asteroids as well. So I love these air bubbles, man. It's just, I love the bubbles. They might not be everybody's favorite aesthetic, but it's such an easy way to define like the space that a ship or like a creature is occupying, like a person occupies a 5-foot square. And so if they were to be drifting through space, they'd have a bubble surrounding them as well. So this is that same aesthetic that ships always have little bubbles around them. In the official Spelljammer stuff from 2nd edition and 5th edition, they shape them differently. The shape is based on the actual shape of the ship. I simply like to have the space that the ship occupies be filled by that bubble, because once you get into a map and you start moving tokens around, it's cool to have the bubble filling the actual space that the ships or the creatures are occupying, so you can clearly see the space that they're occupying. I feel like Mojo Jojo over here, so let's not worry about that so much right now. And so I'm going to paint a lot of these asteroids, probably off screen. You guys have seen asteroids before. We have a Theurgy Night Spider, or Death Spider as 2nd edition would call them, and of course again here we have the Spiderling fighter craft that we created here. So let's just do some more. Let's see. Let's just do some more fighter ship stuff. So hold on. Doo-doo. Theurgy, Spiderling, Asteroid, Night Spider. We can get rid of that now. Night Spider, Theurgy. Ling. The ship itself. Cool. Let's see how I want to do this. I'm figuring my stuff out here. So we're starting up a new piece. So I'm thinking. Let's start from the beginning. There we go. No. I am here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday. In the morning, I typically have anywhere from 80 to 120 minutes for me to do illustrations like this. On Mondays and Thursday nights, including tonight, we work on cartography for the Eberron adventure that I will be publishing after we finish this piece. I stream for probably typically about 2 hours there, less depending on what the muse wants to do. I then have on Saturdays I work on either personal projects, push another project forward, or work on commissions. And so I'm currently working on a book cover commission for a 5th edition adventure for third-party creators Andy Headley and Brian Hancock. And great guys. Andy helped with the creation of the Eberron adventure that we stream on Mondays and Thursday nights. And I've worked with Brian on various projects in the past. And he's also one of the folks that I know I can turn to for reliable feedback about artwork that I produce, like color schemes and stuff like that. So, true allies, both of them. I'm glad to have them both in my life, and I'm happy to help build the book cover. There you go. So, you can see that on Saturday mornings. On Tuesdays at lunch, including this week, we are developing the Martial Powers system, which is a alternate magic system for non-spellcasters to have spell casting like options. So I stream that every day, and once when the Eberron project is done, that will become my primary project. But I'm going to actually start playtesting that when this book is done, hopefully in November-ish. We'll have an opportunity to fire that up. But of course, we've got to get this book off our plate to free up the bandwidth for us to be able to do stuff like that. So I'm trying to get this thing done, but it's proving to take a lot more time than I had originally anticipated, to be honest. It's frustrating in one sense that it's not just, don't give me the labor pains, just give me the baby, I just want the baby. Give me the finished book, but I am the one that has to do the labor pain of producing all of the art assets for these books, so it is a constant struggle in my world between cutting corners and producing stuff that I am just legitimately proud of. And I think I keep finding the muse pushing me into the ladder of just take your time and build it right and do it cool, and everything, just trust her. Everything's going to turn out okay. So my job is to trust her. That is what we do. So it takes a little while to get these things finished, but I'm thinking because of that, once I finish the current Saturday commission, I'm going to use my Saturday morning streams to start developing the playtest campaign for the Martial Powers system. Having Martial Powers on, I think, Tuesdays and Saturdays will be a lot of fun. Yeah, and then sometimes on Mondays or Fridays, I'll jump on stream and do stuff. I play D&D on Wednesdays. I have I actually DM for my coworkers in my day job. We have a once a week lunchtime adventure. It's anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes of campaign each week. It's a very, very slow progression, but even at that distended, is that the right word? Anyway, it's been a 4-year campaign playing in 1.5 hour chunks, and it has really changed the way I approach resolving tasks, processing rounds of initiative, workflow, having a progression, like a progressive system of like turn-based actions where the team is constantly updating what actions it is that they're taking, and you know, rolling dice to resolve that stuff to keep pushing them through the content, and having combat that is processed quickly so that because you know, if you have a large set piece, it can take more than an hour for a single combat. So we're at 19th level right now, and even a simple 3 or 4 round of combat can take 30 minutes. So, but we keep the combat fast and loose so that we rarely have to stop and go back to work before finishing any particular encounter. So by making things bite-sized and quick-paced, you can break up. If you have a longer campaign that you're running, like if you're running a 3-hour session at your table, then if you train yourself to have these faster, loose combats, you can process through. I mean, there's supposed to be what, 6 to 8, 3 to 4 round combats per long rest. If you're having 30-minute combats of 3 to 5 rounds in a 4-hour session, you can have 6 to 8 encounters like that. But I don't think you're actually supposed to have. Maybe I misunderstood this, and if there's somebody more knowledgeable out there than me, let me know the answer here. But I believe that 6 to 8 encounters per day isn't necessarily just combat encounters. I think it's just encounters, things that happen that allow that warrant gaining experience points, like triggering traps, having conversations with NPCs, exploration and social pillars stuff as well, not just combat. Combat eats up the most time, and it's a war game simulator. I mean, it's a combat simulation game, basically. You know, almost all of the action economy that a character has and all the features that they have are framed around combat. So it is a very combat-oriented game by nature. So naturally, it can be assumed that you would have 8 combats per day. But if you have great design in your games, you're still eating up the resources of characters in social and exploration challenges regardless. So that's so that's my Wednesday. And like I said, it's really changed my perspective about how I run games. I've played a number of different systems, and I would say honestly, the style of DMing that I have is actually most suited to Cypher system. I ran Cypher for maybe a year and a half, back at the towards the beginning days of 5th edition. And it was such a loose narrative style of play. The problem that I had with it, I think primarily was I'm assessing, because I didn't know this is the conversation that we're going to have. This is just what we've been led into. So I'm going to take a second, grab a cup of coffee here, because I like Cypher. I think the only holdup I have with Cypher in general is that the goal, the player's goal, while playing like the meta narrative, the meta of the game, from the player's side, is I want to automatically succeed at this challenge. And there are a number of intentional mechanics built into the game that it's designed to reduce the challenge of an encounter. And if you can reduce the challenge of that encounter to 0, you automatically succeed. If you can't reduce the challenge to 0, the challenge, like the number you have to roll on the 20-sided die, the challenge rating of the encounter becomes lower. So it's just if you can't just explain away why you would automatically succeed at whatever task is at hand, you instead just reduce the dice to the point where a high-level character, it's just going to be virtually impossible for them to fail the task anyway. It's just you weren't able to reduce the risk to 0, so there is the chance of chaos. Let's go ahead and do that. Or, alternatively, I do like this mechanic. If you want to further, like if you can't quite get it to a place where you can eliminate the die roll and automatically succeed anyway. If you can't get there because of your character resources and the team pooling their resources together to accomplish the goal as a team, you can instead incur a baleful event that challenges your characters in a different way. They succeed at this task, but they create a complication. And then, so the complication is basically, okay, great, you don't have to worry about, like, you'll automatically succeed at this task, but now you have this problem instead. And so it's a series of, it's an ongoing chain of, oh, you eliminated that as a problem, well, this new problem cropped up. If you fail your die roll, you could fail forward and succeed at the task anyway, and then the DM just provides a complication. And this is kind of how game mastering, dungeon mastering works in general anyway. It's just Cypher System, Monte Cook Games kind of codified the idea of yes but, or yeah, that's the right phrase to use, that you accomplish your goal but it creates this new issue. And I wonder if there's arguments at Cypher System tables between players and TMs that you're just adding a complication to make it complicated. Like, is there a meta argument that happens at tables when players get frustrated that they find a way to eliminate the risk of failure and get hit with a complication anyway? Are they, like, do they call foul? Like, you shouldn't be adding a complication here. I just zeroed out the challenge on this. It's supposed to automatically succeed, yet you're giving us a complication anyway. Like, there's a mechanical value to complications. It mitigates dice rolls. So if on your own you find a way to eliminate the die roll and you still get the complication, is that the DM? Is that being an adversarial DM? And that's one of the head scratchers, I guess, for lack of a better word, I have about the Cypher System. I mean, I played it for a year and a half. I loved running it 15 months, not a year and a half, but 15 months in an Eberron campaign. And Eberron is a Dungeons and Dragons world. Since like 2005, Eberron's been a setting, but it is an amazing Cypher System setting. It is great. Eberron is great in Cypher. Absolutely love it. But my style of DMing is always adding complications anyway, and I'm always causing characters to fail forward, but there's still die rolls that go along. So the difference in D&D is, like, I want to jump that cliff. Like, here's a classic example. I want to jump that cliff. Okay, great. Can you is it close enough, and is your character skilled enough to automatically succeed at jumping across the cliff? No. Okay, great. Well, go ahead and make your roll. I failed my roll. Okay, great. So using the principles of failing forward, I didn't frame this example correctly, but using the framework of failing forward, if your character failed the die, like in D&D, if your character failed the die roll, they would if you don't want them to die from just a casual misstep, then they're going to fail by they didn't make the jump, but they're able to grab hold at the ledge that they're trying to get on. They're hanging on by their fingertips, and then the DM in a Dungeons and Dragons game might be like a random encounter occurs, and now here comes some goblins, and they haven't seen you hanging on to the ledge by your fingertips. Do you want to jump up and potentially startle them and get in a fight, or do you want to hang here and hope that they don't notice you and smash your fingers and make you fall off the ledge anyway? What do you want to do? Like, that's a complication. In Cypher System, that is a complication that the players would then use further efforts to either eliminate the die roll, to automatically succeed and stay hidden, or they could screw up, and so that I guess that quote unquote complication becomes the goblins absolutely notice you, and now they're attempting to smash your fingers to fall off. But that's like the most logical next action that the goblins would take anyway. So from a D&D frame, I don't need added mechanics about dice resolution and complications to add complications, because as a DM, I just think that's fun. That's where I was trying to get to in this conversation. Monte Cook Games with the Cypher System is codifying and is making a meta narrative around the ideas of fun. And I don't necessarily know if that's necessary. Obviously, it's a great game, and it helps quantify fun, and it quantifies yes and, or what's next, or what's next, and what's next. But again, that's something that DMs just naturally evolve into doing anyway. So I guess maybe Cypher System can be looked at like the absolute best role-playing game. It could be very well the best D20 game to teach DMs how to become improvised gamers. So maybe that's where we're trying to go with this conversation. I honestly don't know where I'm going with conversations when I talk. I just start talking and just turn on the remote control and start painting and figure whatever it is that is going to get said is the right thing to be said for whomever it is that's going to hear that. Right? And in this case, it would appear that that person was me. So that's always exciting, that I get to tell myself things that I didn't know I know until I express it in a way in which it makes sense and I know it. But for me as a DM, what's the word I'm trying to use now? As an out-of-the-box DM, like DMing right out of the box, that's the style of game that I like to run. I like having both the resolution mechanics and the complications meta-narrative being available without having to codify that complication concept. And I get the impression that if you're succeeding at the task, if you're just going to complicate it anyway, then they're basically rolling dice for nothing. You know, like I was going to slap you with this thing anyway because it sounds like it's a cool thing. Like I'm not going to. I don't like, and that's the other thing that I think I was originally trying to get into, was if I want you to fight a dragon, I want to have the opportunity for the team to have a fight, and the Cypher System forces you to jump off of the rails. Like you can, like in D&D, if you're gonna have a dragon fight, even if the team does well in negotiating with the dragon may very well just decide to kill you anyway. And while you can have that attitude in the Cypher System, the mechanics of Cypher System are specifically designed to, we want to get out of fighting this dragon, so we're going to use, like, say, social skills and use effort to reduce the challenge to zero so the dragon doesn't fight us. And it's like, great, now according to the rules of the game, I can't fight the players, but that was going to be, this is not, how to put it. There are many streams and many advice columns about if the team can find a clever way to defeat the challenge, let them defeat the challenge. That is true, but coding it so that the game mechanics are specifically like if they can find a way to avoid the challenge, you can't attack them with that. That is where my gears are grinding in the Cypher system versus other D20 games. That's not necessarily a fatal flaw, and that's not a reason why I stay away from it. To me, it just feels like a misflavor, you know? Kind of like what's a fair analogy? Like if I love like if I what's a good one? The like action economy, like Pathfinder 2E has the 3 action system, right? You have 3 actions, and moving, attacking, or anything that you can imagine is going to cost 1 or more actions to do, versus typical D&D 5e where you have an action, a bonus action, and a movement. And an object interaction, which is a free action in, if I understand correctly, in Pathfinder. So I am not a Pathfinder expert, so don't challenge me on it, because I will lose that challenge. I'm going to take this out to the same width here. There we go. Just like that. Like, it's a different flavor. The 3-point action economy versus the standard bonus movement action economy of D&D in general. I mean, that action bonus action movement economy. What would we call that? Standard bonus movement is SMB. SBM, BMS, BSM, MSB, standard standard movement bonus actions, SMB. So you got 3-point you got 3 action economy from Pathfinder 2, and you got SMB, standard movement bonus actions from Dungeons and Dragons. Basically D&D since 3rd edition. Basically since Wizards of the Coast took over Dungeons and Dragons, has been. I'm gonna move this over so I'm facing the camera a little bit more, because I'll get over here and I'm like, you're talking to my ear, right? It's like, it's just not friendly streaming, Kearney. Oh, and thanks everybody that checked out the upload that I extracted from the Eberron conversations that we were having Monday nights. That I released a little 3-minute snippet from a rant. I call these rants, I guess. And so I'm currently ranting about the differences and my reservations about becoming a full-time Cypher DM. That's a rant, right? But I can also rant, like the thing that I uploaded yesterday was a 3-minute rant about how good dungeon mastering is like a good improv comedy. So you can check that out. And that was just a 3-minute extract from like the 2-hour stream that we had on Monday while I was doing Eberron cartography. So I tend to talk about just random stuff, and I've received inspiration, and now I've had a modest success in extracting a small snippet of conversation and dropping it into a separate piece. Like, I don't think I'd take this off-the-cuff comparison of Cypher versus D&D. Like this, I don't see myself extracting that, but that is the sort of thing that I could extract. into a separate piece and upload it away from the live stream. And apparently I've learned that I can stop different different art streams that I've had. I can stop them from being the stuff that you see. So I'm going to make an effort of starting to swap out, like when I upload a snippet, I will remove from search options one of my live streams, so that I can continue to curate my list of content that you can see or would be recommended through YouTube to be more and more small piece dissertations or mini rants that are easy for folks to digest, and then link back to the larger conversation in the playlist, so I can start curating the content that I have here on YouTube while still being able to run streams every day. So I'm figuring that stuff out. I'm kind of happy about it. It seems like I'm slow. I'm slow to evolve with this machinery, probably because I'm overbooked. But it's been a fun learning experience, figuring out how to do, how to build a stream. We're still in our infancy here, right? But I've seen art streams that have 6-digit followers. I've seen Dungeons and Dragons streams that have 6-digit followers. I have yet to see a stream with 6-digit followers that talks about D&D while painting. So I don't know how successful the long-term effort here is, but I'm going to I paint online because these books are these are such massive projects here. Check this out. I'll blow this back, and then we'll back this up. It'll finish backing up here in a second, and you can see just how enormous these things are. There we go. See, this is a 107-page document. The first 87 pages are mechanics about scale, movement, combat, weapon systems, action economy, exploration, orbiting distances, mapping star systems, spell casting, hazards in space, and creatures, as well as a random system generator. That's the first 87 pages of this document. And then the back 20 pages of this document is taking all of those 90 pages up front and then converting the Light of Xeraxis adventure to use all of these mechanics as a case study of how this stuff can all work together in content that you may already be familiar with. Like, a lot of people are probably picking up Spelljammer because they were not happy with the box set that they got from Wizards of the Coast. And that box set comes with an adventure. So we're providing deeper rules that provides consistent physics that you can use to create your own setting. We have rules so that DMs can create rulings with a consistent base level of physics that explains why all this stuff works. So you can use what you want from here and leave the rest, but the goal is to provide a holistic setting with mechanics that are 5e mechanics that explore this really unique setting. And, to make it fun. So, I mean, that's the goal, right? So we're going to have that there, and I'm going to take this here and color this in like that. So it's 107 pages. That is the biggest book. This book is so big, I didn't properly estimate how much time it's going to take to build this book. If you check in the description down below, there's a link to the. Hold on. There we go. There's links to the color mana spell point variant rules that I made for 5th edition, so you can use like color magic for Magic of the Gathering in D&D. Super intuitive system, very fun. I'm incredibly proud of it. I'm looking forward to the new edition being released, so I can update those documents. They'll still be available for people that want to stay in 5e. Those be in a zip file included with the live document, along with the tokens and the mana playmat, and the editable spell lists. But that's only a 75-page book, and like 30 of them is just tables to have all the spellcasting tables in the actual PDF document. So that people that don't buy the book can at least have an easy reference for what color coding is. So, like half of that book, so it's only really 40 some odd pages of actual mechanics that I had to detail, but I still have like 60 illustrations in that book, and it took me like a good 6 months to finish all that artwork, and it was rushed. And the level quality on some of the pieces need upgrading. So when we update the book for 2024, we can add Strixhaven and Theros, which are currently missing from the works. And we've been running color mana spell point variant rules on at my home table for 4 years now. I actually started developing the color mana language during my playtime at my home table. So, like I said at the intro, I actually play the stuff that I like, the things that I design and publish as supplements for, like, say, 5th edition, are things that I actually use in my game and are so useful. It's like I should share this with other people and make a thing out of it. So, but these projects are so big that I started streaming initially on Twitch, and I stopped. I came over here because just Twitch didn't feel right to me. Plus, I kept streaming licensed music, so I basically shut myself down. I could start a new dummy account, but my YouTube channel was fine. But my Twitch channel got what is going on with this? There we go. Thank you. The color is off here. You seen that? See, I'm using this. It's at 100%. Why is that? See how dark this is compared to this gray? It's very minute. Here, we'll do this. So you can see this is one tone here, and this is a darker tone here. But when I color grab this darker tone and I paint, oh, that's weird. Now it's darker. Okay, that was weird. Get out of here, Scallywag. Thank you. I started streaming because I was intimidated. I was legitimately procrastinating the artwork on the project because it was such a large project. I was intimidated on, like, how am I going to get through this thing? So I would find other things. You know, we know how to procrastinate. Find other things to do, and I was self-sabotaging the production of this thing that I love. So I decided to start streaming so that I would have FaceTime to put a pressure on me to keep my butt in the chair and keep pushing pixels until everything was done. And it got done. And I was very proud of the effort as a result of it. So that kind of locked me in that I want to stream artwork or you know, and then we started doing book production itself, both with this project as well as like the Martial Power System that we stream on Tuesday. That's in the developmental phase right now as well. I want to think. Yep, I was right. And then it kind of developed into a lot of people don't know, you know, what it takes to build a role-playing PDF, you know, like a role-playing game or a supplement or something. So it's like, well, this is all the insane crap that you have to do to get this thing done, so why don't I share that? And so that's what we've been doing. On top of all that, I don't see any color, so I hope that if there are colorblind artists out there that are struggling with how can they integrate color into their work. I am 100% colorblind. I'm not even just red-green colorblind. I am no cones. Monochromatism. You can check out what that means in the description down below. But essentially, I have no cones. I'm incapable of processing color information. It makes you light blind because you're constantly in dark vision, right? Like when your eyes adjust to the darkness, and then your eyes hurt when you come back into the sunlight. That is my life 24/7. I am constantly in dark vision. It tends to make me squinty in the sunshine. And the cones also control camera zooming, and like your eye camera, zooming in and controlling resolution. So I'm like in a 300 DPI print world. My illustrations, the illustrations that I see with my eye are basically Web 72 DPI. They're blurry. I can't zoom in, and I lose like if I try to zoom in, I don't gain any additional information because there's no additional information to process when you zoom in. It's like it's a fun limitation, I'll tell you that. I didn't. If you had told me that I was going to download into this life, and as an artist, but then give myself the complication of not seeing color, I wouldn't have believed it. But here we are. So I think that's a lot of fun. But that also makes me think, if I'm colorblind, and I wish I knew how to paint in color, and I figured it out. Maybe there's other colorblind artists out there that wish that they knew how to paint in color that haven't figured it out yet. So, but that's like such a random ask. Like, you know, hey, if you know anyone that's colorblind, that's an artist that secretly wishes that, or openly wishes that they could paint in color, send them my way, and I will show them what it is that I've figured out how to do, and perhaps inspire them as I was inspired by my friends. My friends see color, but they're like, why don't you just try? Why don't you just try? I was watching a film analysis of the symbolism in the movie The Black Hole, the Disney, I think it was 1980, maybe it was 81, the sci-fi movie by Disney, The Black Hole. Such a cool film. People crap on it a lot because it's old, but it's the aesthetics and the just everything about it. The characters I love. It's such a great, straightforward D&D adventure. Just absolutely love it. But it makes me laugh because the robot robot companion Vincent in the to the adventuring team, right? They basically have this robot sidekick, and it is by far the most intelligent crew member. Like it's a robot. It has AI. It has infinite information, and it's like it knows all of history. And it just like it picks on the fighter in the group. It just harasses him constantly. And one of the quotes that I was reminded of when I was watching this yesterday was, there are three types of people. They're those that God, how's it go? Those that will, those that won't, and those that can't. The will accomplish everything. Oh God, how's that go? Fuck. Give me a second to find it again. It dropped out of my brain. The wills, the won'ts, and the can'ts. The wills accomplish everything. The won'ts oppose everything, and the can'ts won't try anything. So I had been a won't. No, I was a can't. I wouldn't try color, and once my team put me to the task, I became a will, and I figured out. I accomplished it. I figured out how to do it, and that kind of really changed my trajectory that was like I think I was 24, 25 when that happened, and I had already been having to figure out how to adapt to a very unusual visual limitation that just can't be corrected by lenses because it's retina stuff, not lens. So it's something that I've been stuck with, and it forces me to engage with people and reality differently. I don't have color information, so like I tried to learn Japanese at one point using the Rosetta Stone programs, but the Rosetta Stone program relies on you being able to see color, because the way that it teaches you nouns and verbs and adjectives is by first teaching you like boy, girl, man, woman, and then the colors like blue, green, yellow, red, black, white. It teaches you base colors so that it can start chaining together the boy in the blue shirt sat underneath the kitchen table, and have a picture of 3 kitchen tables, and you were to pick out which one of them is the boy in blue underneath the table. You acknowledge the boy in blue under the table, and you passively pick up sits underneath the kitchen table. Like this, like the table with the red tablecloth is in a well-lit room. Like if you know what the table is, and you know what red is, and you've learned what light is so far, now you can start differentiating between well-lit and poorly lit, or light and dark locations, through inference of the vocabulary you already know. And that's passive learning. And it's very effective unless you don't see color and you're constantly guessing between blue, yellow, and green kids underneath kitchen fucking tables. So that frustrated the hell out of me, and I had to give up on that. But that's like a really unique, I tried, and I just kept bouncing off of it. It was frustrating. I spent I think 3 months trying to get through the first lesson planner of basic adjectives, verbs, and nouns, and I just could not do it. It could be that I've over time maybe been able to pick up some subtleties and differences in the grayscales that typically accompany the different colors. Like there's a bandwidth of from black to white that goes a value of 0 to 100%, or here on the RGB scale it's 0 to 255. And like blue tends to be somewhere like in around the 150 to 220 pixel range, or dot range, while red tends to be like more around the 30 to 70 pixel range, and like orange is like from 50 to 110. It's like you have this evolving value scale that the colors of the rainbow sit on top of. And maybe it would be true that after spending 10,000 hours of learning how to paint in color based on values, maybe I've passively picked up enough information myself about the difference in the colors used that maybe 23 years later I'd be able to tell the difference. You know what? I can feel my friends in the back of my head taunting me that I haven't tried in 20 years, and maybe it's time for me to try again. That's okay. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I should do that. I don't know what kind of a session this is. Apparently I'm rambling a lot. Don't mind me. I've got the rambles. But yeah, once I got into streaming like this, I didn't want to stop streaming. It's like, well, you know what? The mission here was hope beyond hope to inspire some colorblind folks that want to paint in color to see it's not actually that difficult. But I've so there's a number of different colorblind groups on Facebook and stuff that I hang out in, and it's just not much interest. I think I'm kind of a lone wolf. So I think I'm fooling myself in thinking that there's droves of colorblind artists wishing they knew how to paint in color. I might just be. There's me and there's that guy that Bob Ross met back in the 80s. Bob Ross did a black and white episode. He was like a guy who couldn't see color walked up to him. He couldn't see color at all, just like me. This was so inspiring to me as a 5-year-old, because when I was 5 years old, I used to get up. Saturday morning cartoons used to be a thing, right? For those that don't know, there used to be basically a block from 6:30 a.m. sometimes 7, depending on where you're at. But where in Kansas City, where I lived when I was a little kid, from 6:30 till basically 11 o'clock, there was just half-hour cartoons and all sorts of different cartoons on 3 different channels. So that was like, I'm having a math here. Hold on. From 7 till 11, that's 8, 9, 20. There's 27 different cartoons that played Saturday morning from 6:30 till 11. And Bob Ross came on at 6. So I'd get up and start playing Legos and listen to Bob Ross every Saturday morning. And then the cartoons would start. And, I was set. I'd play Legos all morning. We'd have pancakes. During me and my sister, there'd be a block of time that we didn't care about what was on. That was pancake time, so we'd have breakfast during cartoons we didn't care about. It's so awesome. So awesome. God, growing up was wicked. Sunday morning, though, was dreadful. God, there was no good cartoons on Sunday morning until Super Sundays, like Robotics and Bigfoot, Gem, and Humanoids. Until those things came out, Sundays was like very, very drab, thin pickings. It wasn't worth getting up early. But Saturday mornings was the shit in the 80s, man. That was just all of the 80s. The whole 80s decade for kids was just owned by Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons and after school cartoons. Like from 3 till 5 was another block on. There'd be 2 different channels that would run weekday afternoon cartoons, and there was also weekday morning cartoons from like 7 till 9, which always confused me because the bus would pick me up at 7:15, and I'd get home at 3:55, and Robotech started at 4, so I had to fucking asses and elbows, man. I had to sprint home to catch the intro song to Robotech because I loved the intro song to Robotech. Yeah, it was some, I can't remember his name offhand right now, but it was an Italian composer, and it was just such fascist fanfare type music. It was very bravado, very military. Very appropriate for what Robotech was. It was such great flavor, and the animation, the opening animation for Robotech was just inspiring. I would watch that, and then I would run off and I would draw. And then the Robotech role playing game came out. I want to say Palladium put that out. I think I want to say 1988 was when Palladium had license for the Robotech role-playing game and just punched out a bunch of just kick-ass artwork and books. I had all the art books from like the art of Robotech. There's like 3 books. Like there was like a 400-page book for the original series, and then there was 2 separate 200-page companions for Southern Cross and Mos Piata, the Invid Invasion, And God, I was in love with those books. Love that art. That's what got me. That was kind of my molding towards doing artwork in general. Dungeons and Dragons, the old like Larry Elmore's art for D&D basic and expert companion masters box sets, as well as his art in Gamma World second edition. That was also TSR. Tactical, what is it? Tactical Strategy Rules, I think was the name of it. I keep blanking on the actual name of TSR, but I mean, they're bankrupt, so who cares? Not to be too callous. Where are we at on time anyway? 7:25. Okay, so this is our last 20-minute burst. Cool. We're getting stuff done here. Robotech is a role-playing game. I think probably the kids these days, the what they would probably equate that to the most now is Lancer. The Lancer RPG is like an off 5e d20 game for mecha combat, and Robotech had a ton of rules for character classes and having actual characters, that do stuff. But if you weren't flying around in your Veritech shooting Zentradi or fighting Invid in a Cyclone, an Alpha ship, like why are you playing Robotech? Like why bother? The whole thing of it was the mecha. And boy, that game was boring out of combat because I just wanted mecha combat, right? But the mecha combat Palladium system is not an elegant combat system at all. As I understand it, I only have a passing familiarity with Lancer, but it would not surprise me at all if somebody has already converted all of the Robotech stuff into Lancer. You can't get licensing for that stuff. Like what's Harmony Gold gonna do? Give me a license of that? No. So. But I'm sure somebody out there has already done a fan conversion of Robotech into Lancer. But Lancer is also a mech combat simulator. So as I understand, there are some very basic rules for characters and role-playing stuff outside of your mecha. But it's a mecha combat simulator game. Of course, you're going to be in your mecha running around fighting other mecha. And the role-playing is going to basically be talking trash at each other while you're in your mecha. So, and I've asked about this. Some of my friends online here have played Lancer and pretty much agreed. Yeah, there's not much to do outside of being a pilot. So that's what keeps me rooted in D&D so much. Like you can do Lancer is basically variant vehicle rules for D&D. And I don't know how out of pocket that statement really is because, again, I haven't actually played it and I've only thumbed through the rules. But it seems like it's something that you'd be able to convert over into using for just, vehicle combat in general in D&D or a similar game. And that's what I like about the D20 system so much is how much you can just tack on. You can just clip on different systems. And that's why that's not working. So far, so good. So what? Oh, interesting. All right, well, hey, Fusion Ho. Love this song. I like how concussive it is. I started watching Utopia again. Utopia came out, I think, in 2020, like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's a show about a vaccine that kills people. It's a little too. They have a disclaimer at the front that this was a work of fiction created before the pandemic. I think that is just hilarious. Because it's been around for a couple years, and things come up in rotation, and things retrend after they had initially launched, and it's just obnoxiously relevant, considering the conspiracy theories out there about, you know, what people didn't know. I won't dive down that conspiracy ladder with you. This combat chapter is the most illustration intense portion of all. Once I get through this, we have very little illustration left to do before we can actually publish the book, which is both relieving and frustrating because, you know, time. But I am finding much more satisfaction in this book, taking the time with it and building the art assets that I never would have been able to do even 5 years ago. It feels so good. Art is such an amazing reason to stay alive, for lack of a better word. Like artwork, being diligent and focused on improving your craft as an artist is such a way to just to motivate you to get your ass out of bed every day and just to keep pushing stuff. Like I've always been intimidated by vehicles because I'm a very sketchy, sloppy sort of impressionistic sort of artist, and there's that and there's that. I'm gonna merge these two together. That. So hardline detail work, like drafting stuff, is. I took drafting classes in college, but it was never my strong suit. And this book, blessedly, is Spelljammer was the motivation necessary for me to get serious about doing structural illustrations, and I've been immensely pleased with the results. These things look fucking badass. I am so happy with that process. It has been just a massive blessing to be able to you know, evolve, for lack of a better word. That feels pretty good. This could be better, I'm sure. No, I am very, very happy with this piece so far. Vehicles structured hard point illustrating, solid line illustrating, non-organic materials is the next section. What's the right word for this? Is the next skill set that I need to develop as an artist for me to be able to continue to grow. A few years ago, I identified environments and backgrounds to be my weakest point in illustrating, and facet of art, maybe we'll use facet. My weakest facet of art a few years ago was backgrounds and environments. So I went back into my Bob Ross roots and got really, really good at painting Bob Ross in Photoshop. You can see that on my Saturday morning stream. The commission that I'm doing on Saturday morning right now involves a Bob Ross painting. The commission that I had done on Saturday morning stream prior to that also involved a Bob Ross painting. Bob Ross painting only improves fantasy illustration, but it's such a good technique that it started leaving all of my other art behind. So and now I had to up my game on character posing, and so I worked on that for a number of years, and I've got a much more natural feeling about gesturing with humanoid characters and creatures in general now. So I've shorn up that weekend, but that now makes this facet of mechanical, like drafting illustrations, like hardline illustrating like this, had become my weakest point. So then I have to now evolve this art, this facet of art as well. So whenever, like, you'll see like those diagrams, right? Like this is you, and like you're strong towards object creation, but like you're super weak with environments. You're really good at illustrating like poses, and only okay with objects, and this is your breakdown. I don't know what this fifth thing would be, but like you have that breakdown of your skill set. So like it makes this like little, like it makes this like what do they call them? Like affinity nets, or like a web, like a skill web, pointing out what these different aspects and what are you strongest in those, and that creates like that little profile thing that was just showing anyway. As you continue developing one piece, you'll see like you want your web to get bigger and bigger and fill up that gap more, so you become an expert at all the different aspects and different facets of your medium. And in my case, it's illustration. So I want to master all the different aspects of illustration. Aspects makes more sense there, not facets. So as you develop one skill, it becomes more developed than the others, and then you look at what's the runt in your skill set next, and then you find reasons to develop that skill set next. So the Spelljammer project will continue forward, and I suspect by the end of it, I'm going to feel really comfortable with illustrating structures and vehicles. So that is a sort of just side benefit of continuing. Like role-playing games is such a wide net of mechanics, social interaction, people watching, conversations, intuition, stealth, like all these different, here's an appropriate phrase, facets of life that get expressed through the mundane and the fantastical in role-playing games, that as an illustrator in that genre of work, it really pushes you to continue just evolving all of your skill sets together, so that the next challenge that you have, like the next challenge could be like, I need to depict creatures in a bar in the astral plane or something. Like I need to be able to illustrate, all the components and material that's in a bar, and the creatures, and interacting with each other, and having proper expressions of emotions where applicable, depending on the kind of creatures that you're illustrating. But like there's all these different pieces that go into making a good composition of a really evocative illustration in the role-playing medium. And it is such, it pays so little, but yet it pushes you to be so good. It's another really obnoxious paradox about role-playing games in general, that like role-playing games is such a good way to build sets of skills, whether it's character interaction, or illustration like this, or improvisation, group, like working in a group, managing small teams. Like there is no limit to the resume padding that you can type up, that is improved and honed through the experience of being involved in role-playing games. It's I love being here. I love doing these things. And I think we're pretty much at the end of today's stream. I think I'm out of time. Nope, it's 7:42. I've still got a few minutes, so I can at least get this resolved before we move on with our day. But we're gonna be back tonight. We're gonna do some more. Farm, homestead cartography for the Eberron adventure that we have been illustrating also for pretty much the past year, maybe a little bit longer. That's coming along nicely. We have done a ton of map assets, big maps, big map assets. It's taking care of so much of what illustrations we're going to need in that adventure when we finally get to that point. Because a lot of an adventure, like the content of an adventure, is maps and parsing out the information that's provided in those maps. So it's a really, all this front end investment in creating the map assets and stuff is actually really necessary, because when you actually get into the content of the adventure, we'll be basically cutting up all those maps into little blocks that we can drop onto pages wherever it is that block of text or that little block of map is being discussed. Like we cut out the piece, we drop it into the piece, and then we talk about that piece. That's kind of how adventures do. Something just happened to my heart. I felt a stirring. I never got vaccinated, so I know my heart's not going to explode. That's not it. It might be a sense of pride. Hard to recognize that feeling sometimes. I'm feeling something though. Something literally just triggered in me. So I don't know what it is. My muse is trying to tell me something, but I'm not intuitive enough to hear her properly. But yeah, our day is just about done here. Oh yeah, I'll be on. So I'll be on tonight in about 11-ish hours from now. Is generally when I stream, and I typically stream on Eberron nights for hour and a half, 2 hours. So a little bit longer than what we're streaming here today. But we typically talk about game design and DM tools and tips and stuff like that, and past experiences and campaigns a little bit more. I tend to talk about art and business a little bit more in the mornings like this. I'm hoping that as I transition to having the Eberron project here in the mornings, that I will also be able to carry the conversations about gaming and DMing and role playing more so than illustration and business stuff. But I think the conversations about Cypher System this morning was a good step in the right direction towards us having meaningful art and D&D content or role playing game content in the mornings. That was encouraging. I'm liking this. This is moving pretty smoothly. Spending the past 20 hours illustrating these guys certainly has helped expedite the process of creating this one. Everything folds into each other, and everything improves the overall abilities that you have. You might not necessarily see how one thing is applicable to the other, but art makes it pretty obvious, which is another thing I love just about being in art in general, is how much I can immediately literally see how the efforts I'm taking are improving my overall skill set. Music's kind of like that too, but not everything is. Not everything is. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. These asteroids, I don't know how much time I'm going to spend on asteroids on stream here. When I was doing this illustration, I was using asteroids as a warm-up, and then I would dive into the more important pieces. But I also, when I want to just listen to, like when I want to, like if I want to listen to like Daniel at Bandit's Keep talk about Beckme, or if I want to listen to Todd at Hex Press talking about hex crawls, a lot of the time I'll just paint asteroids because they got to get done. So, but hey, we're done for today. We're going to pick up and keep doing this tomorrow. Thanks a lot for anyone that catches this in the future. I appreciate you being here. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. If you thought any of this conversation was cool, or if you like the illustrations that I've been doing, great way to support the channel is to subscribe here and keep watching with me. Ask questions, jump into chat when you may be live, when I am too. Love having the interactions with people when it's possible. And I'll be back tonight in about 11 hours. Yeah, in about 11 hours to 11 and a half maybe. Anyway, tonight. Be on tonight. And so I will see, hopefully I'll see a whole bunch of you there. Thanks a lot.